Hello, Steve White, Steve White's 89. The reviews are in for Alex Kurtzman's Clarice, and it's pretty grim. I am enjoying this. I stumbled across a video by Mr. H, and I tend not to watch his videos because he's a bit of a nasty muscle queen, but I couldn't help it because of the content, the subject. So I watched it, and he actually read through the whole interview. It's Entertainment Weekly, who is a particular review that has absolutely savaged him, and it's well deserved. Now, if you know much about Kurtzman, you know he ruined the second Spider-Man trilogy. He destroyed the Universal Monsters Dark Universe film series before it even began. He ruined the Transformers series after the second film, and it just went downhill after that. Pretty much destroyed the Star Trek series in the second film as well, although they kind of salvaged it by the third film artistically, but they didn't really do it commercially. And basically, what he did with Discovery was he got the rights to the series, to Star Trek basically, to make a Star Trek series, but he didn't get all the rights. So they weren't able to really do a real Star Trek series. They had to make it different from the other Star Treks, so there was no competition and no licensing issues and all this. And what resulted was a show that was Star Trek in name only, and it didn't give the fans anything they wanted. It created another kind of show that a small amount of people have sort of found interest in, and others, it's just alienated everyone else from it. And it's just a disaster. It's not Star Trek. It's not... nothing looks right, nothing sounds right, the uniforms aren't right, the clothes aren't right, the period era is not right, the ships aren't right, the characters aren't right, Starfleet's not right, the theme's not right, the tone's not right, everything is wrong because he didn't have the rights to Star Trek. He had to make this sort of rip-off version in the Star Trek license, and that's what he's trying to do now with Silence of the Lambs. They've gotten the rights to the Clarice character, but that's it. They don't have the rights to Hannibal or any other characters or Silence of the Lambs itself. And they're just trying to make a police procedural with this character, and they're expecting to appeal to and satisfy the same crowd, the same audience, the same fan base from the franchise that is Silence of the Lambs and the Hannibal franchise, because that was a book series, and there was a movie, and it was a movie series and prequels, and then a TV series called Hannibal, which focused specifically on that character. And the films actually have different versions of sort of different adaptations of the character. So it's been done well, and his version has not gone down well with critics. I would love to read the whole article out, but it's too long and I'm just too clumsy. But I'm just going to read a couple little bits that I liked. It starts off, Clarice embarrasses itself right away. The Silence of the Lambs sequel series, premiering February 11 at 10 p.m. on CBS, begins with Clarice starling Rebecca Breeds in a therapy session that doubles as a previously on sequence. It's 1 year since the FBI rookie hunted skin-suited maniac Buffalo Bill. Their showdown provided the fearsome climax of 1991's Silence of the Lambs movie, with director Jonathan Demme staging their darkened duel inside Bill's hellish man cave. Clarice substitutes quick cut flashbacks that look like bad cosplay. It's a clip reel of fan service trauma. Goodbye Horses, Hello Reboot. Now, basically, it's just a police procedural, and they focus on Clarice, the character, which of course the series is called Clarice, and it's just about her and her task, I guess, of having to basically break all the glass ceilings in the FBI. And she's got a black friend who's also working in the FBI, who of course is going to have to break all those ceilings as well. And it's just going to be all about, it's basically just a feminist piece about these women basically working in the FBI and about them. And that's not what Silence of the Lambs is. That may be a great story to tell on its own. I'm not saying it isn't, and it wouldn't be a good drama, or maybe its own police procedural. Maybe they could have done a really good instead of using the license for this, just created their own original period piece CSI program, basically, where it's because I mean at the time the film was a huge sort of revelation for sort of crime procedurals and that at the time, basically we just had Angela Lansbury and Dick Van Dyke respectively writing and diagnosing murders, and when that version of CBS tried for sexy violence, the result looked like a midlife crisis. I'm reading part of the interview here, which is the other part that interested me when they were talking about comparing it to that era, because it's totally different, and it was something that worked on a totally different level, and they're probably better off going back to something like this and doing it in a period sort of style, but perhaps it's a little bit more realistic, because there was, science in investigating at the time, but everyone else was just focusing on the sort of mystery, sort of Murder, She Wrote style version of it. And like he goes on to say, I yearn for the droll pleasure of Jessica Fletcher's pleasant coastal kill town, but it's not hard to understand what a supernova Silence of the Lambs was next to stuff like that. The film ravished audiences with Demi's awe-inspiring direction, Ted Talley's clever script, and the two magnetic leads. Basically, everything else has been imitations, and this is just one big imitation. And it's not going to give anyone what they want. It's not going to give any Hannibal fans any Hannibal. Legally they can't use him. The license will not allow it. Just like Star Trek, the license would not allow them to. Well, they could pay to use elements, and then they couldn't merchandise and license those elements themselves. That money would go to CBS. But so far as Silence of the Lambs, they can't use Hannibal. So how do you make a Hannibal series about Hannibal? I know it's Clarice, but the people who are going to watch it for Clarice are not the same audience, not the same crowd, and they're not going to be as many. There's going to be some people who watch this just for its feminist elements, for its look at the FBI through the eyes of a woman and dealing with all that. That will have its own appeal, but that's going to be a small amount of people. It's not going to get the kind of audience that the Silence of the Lambs series or movie would get. So I'm glad they're savaging him. I'm glad that he's been called out. It's frustrating and hurtful as a Star Trek fan to see the way that they destroyed Star Trek, and like they just basically grifted Netflix into paying for this series that is just Star Trek in name, and he's basically trying to pull the same con with Clarice and trying to trick another fan base into coming in and looking at his pale imitation of what they've already experienced and expect. And it's not going to go over well. It hasn't already gone over well with critics. It's not going to go well with fans. And I'm kind of just going to sit back and enjoy this moment of him being outed and exposed. And it was a real joy to watch Mr. H read through the whole article, even with the sodomy preoccupation, but won't go into that. But suffice it to say, Kurtzman is taking it, and he deserves it, and I'm happy to watch him suffer. And I hope this continues. I want him just driven out of Hollywood. I want someone else to take over Star Trek and just produce an actual quality show, with all the new improvements and new changes that we need, while sticking to the original theme and the original sort of I just want Star Trek back. We're not going to get it with him. And Silence of the Lambs fans are not going to get Hannibal with this series. And he's just pulling the same trick. And he's done it a few times. And the reality is it's not going to keep working. He can't keep getting away with this. And that's the good part. Finally, Hollywood is looking and seeing this guy is a charlatan. He's just a scam artist. He just takes a license and just pulls what he can from it and then tries to sell it when really it's just whatever that is in name, and then just it's just a hideous thing to experience as a fan, to see a franchise treat it like this. And now the Silence of the Lambs people are going through it, but at least it's been called out from the beginning. They know what they're getting. Star Trek fans, we thought we were going to get Star Trek. We had that slap in the face when we actually watched the show and we first saw those Kling orcs in the first shot. and we realise, wow, no, this is not Star Trek, what is this? And then to be lied to and told that it is Star Trek and it is canon and we do have the license, and you're just all mistaken, you're just confused, don't believe your lying eyes. And then it comes out that it is indeed Prime. They didn't have the license. There was issues between Paramount and CBS and all that drama. So I'm just glad it's all called out. He's not going to get away with it this time, and I hope he doesn't get away with it again in the future, and I just want him to go away. But I'm going to go. The second time I've done this video, I screwed up the first one, so I'm not sure if I made all my points as well for the second time. I probably forgot stuff that I said the first time I thought I just said and probably didn't, but feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think, let me know what you think of the situation, let me know what you think of KurtzMan, let me know what you think of Silence of the Lambs and how it's going to go as a series just about Clarice and her own personal life and her issues and therapy and everything. I'm really going to go this time. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe, maybe even ding the bell. Let me know what you think. Bye.